Something I get asked quite a lot is, especially by visual disturbance clients, is, did you struggle with this too? And because I've maybe not been quite as vocal in my experiences, I thought I would take this opportunity to let people know that, yeah, I do struggle with visual disturbances. And actually, right now, I am in the thick of maybe a little bit of a flare-up of my own. Now, for like the last week or so, I've been sort of in and out of struggling with sort of static in my vision and floaters, and just overall being like really sensitive to light. There's actually a huge light just behind this camera here, and it's really, really intense and strong. And I'm finding it difficult, you know, this happens now and again. It's okay. Maybe it's because I've been a little bit stressed out recently, or that I've had a lot going on. I'm tired. I've not been sleeping well. I was poorly last week. Whatever the reason that this has happened, it's okay. It doesn't really matter. What is helpful now, though, is that I can see this for what it is. Yes, it's incredibly unsettling and it's impacting my day and I don't like it, but that's fine. You don't have to get to a point where you roll out the red carpet for your symptoms and welcome them in, or that you never panic about it ever again. When I felt this sort of onset the other day, yeah, I panicked for about 2 minutes, but then after that, it was, oh yeah, I've caught this. I know what this is. I've been here before. Now I can start practice leaving it alone. And that doesn't mean that I instantly feel better. And there have been times over this last week where it has tried to pull me in and I've noticed it a little bit more. Then there's been times where I've noticed it a little bit less. One of the more frustrating things that I found this time round is more the thoughts behind my visual disturbances. It's, I've caught myself not thinking about it for a while, and here I am now right back to thinking about it, which is really frustrating. But a lot of this is to do with our attention. How much attention am I giving these symptoms? How much attention am I giving these thoughts that accompany the symptoms? And sort of old behaviours and habits that I'd fallen into when I was struggling previously have crept back in, but that's okay. That happens with any anxious symptoms. We form sort of neural pathways in our brains, which are like little roads that carry our behaviours. And unfortunately, we don't get rid of them. We just form new pathways that cement stronger behaviours. Now, these old behaviours are checking, looking out for them, thinking about them, trying to push them away. One thing that I fall into quite a lot is something called, like, I coined it the two-step process, where I don't know, let me see, what have I got done? Okay, so I've got my diary to hand here. And so if I pick up my diary and look at it, before I've even picked up my diary to look at it, I've sort of done this mental check in my mind of, can I see the static? I can. Okay, now I'm going to look at my diary. And then when I am looking at it, I'm not even really looking at my diary. I'm looking at the static whilst looking at my diary. Hopefully that makes sense. But it's just something that I've noticed. And usually in the past, I would really beat myself up and say, oh, come on, you're supposed to know this by now. You've relapsed. You've gone back to square one. But it's okay. Now is a chance for me to practice some self-compassion. And if this is resonating with you, I would invite you to do the same. You're not failing. You've not gone backwards. It's okay. This is part of the process. Yeah, it's incredibly frustrating and I would rather it wasn't here, but I know in my heart that it will pass. Recovery isn't about us never having these symptoms again, but it's about having a confidence to tolerate and experience them, which is a skill that we learn, by the way. It's not like a light switch that we flick on or off. It's not something we do or don't do. It is a skill that we learn over time. And the way I'm trying to frame this right now is an opportunity for me to practice this skill of being willing to tolerate them and experience these visual disturbances. And I must say, over the last day or two, I have noticed the periods between noticing them to then not noticing them and realised I've not noticed them is getting longer and longer, and that's okay. And it will continue to do that until ultimately this sort of little phase has passed. So if you struggle with visual snow, floaters, static, after images, trailing images, all those visual disturbances, please rest assured that recovery is possible and it doesn't always hinder and cripple your life forever. It does pass, and then even if they do become more noticeable, you will easily be able to catch them and then practice leaving them alone.